Hey guys, in this video, I'll be giving you my strategies for getting a 7 on the IB French B SL listening exam. Bonjour à tous, dans cette vidéo, je vais donner mes astuces pour gagner une note de 7 sur l'examen écoute de français B de BI niveau moyenne. Donc, on y va. Let's get into it. What I found to be most effective, first and foremost, is practicing active listening. What active listening means is that you're listening to a lot of French from diverse sources, for example, TV, radio, YouTube channels. But the idea here is that you're listening to a lot of French with the aim of picking up French accent and understanding the French speaking pace and tonality. This is very important. In addition to just listening for the sake of understanding vocabulary, you also want to listen for the accent itself so that you become familiar with the pronunciation of words. This is really important because what you'll find is that some words in French sound similar to others. For example, I could say j'avais fait or vous avez fait. The aves there are conjugated differently, but they sound exactly the same. And obviously, if you understand the difference grammatically, you're able to differentiate them. But if you had not known that, then one of the keys there is being able to listen to the French so that you're able to understand. Even though there are tonal sounds that sound the same, the spelling is different. And so that's the importance of active listening in French. Number two, you have to do a lot of listening tests and mock exams. In addition to active listening, you actually want to do listening tests where you're listening and answering questions. To do this, you can also do past papers of the IB French listening exam. I have some down in the description below. The goal here is to know what to expect in terms of the questions that are being asked, because there are repetitive types of questions that they will ask frequently, like true or false questions, fill in the blanks questions, questions where you have to match what someone said with who said it, stuff like that. And so for that, practicing those a lot will give you an advantage because you'll be aware of how to answer them, how they're structured, and specifically the style of how to complete them, to where even if you don't understand fully, you can navigate to a decent extent. And so doing a lot of listening practice in that sense is very important. Number three, c'est une chose que je dis toujours, c'est de développer la vocabulaire. You have to develop your vocabulary. In order to do well in the listening exam, you have to have a high, rather formidable level of French vocabulary. In order to do this, I have another video on vocabulary. Be sure to check that out. I'll give a link to that as well. But the goal here is becoming familiar with relevant words and phrases from various different types of French themes or topics. And in doing this, you'll be able to have a deeper breadth of understanding of different words and expressions in French so that nothing goes over your head. I think one of the worst things that could happen on the exam is you hear a word and you have no idea what it means, especially if it's a relevant word, a keyword, which I'll also get into. So in that sense, it's so important to build that deeper level of vocabulary to where you're aware of different words and phrases in French and you can navigate with better ease. Numéro 4. This is number 4. Et ça, c'est très important aussi. C'est de savoir et de noter les mots-clés. You have to know and be able to note keywords. Keywords are very relevant words and phrases that have a significance to the meaning of a sentence. For example, je peux donner un exemple. I'll give you an example. I could say, le foot est le sport le plus populaire du monde. So I said, le foot est le sport le plus populaire du monde. That means football, or soccer if you're American, is the most popular sport in the world. Now, the key word in that sentence is le foot. You have to know what le foot means, otherwise you'd be lost. Le foot est le sport le plus populaire du monde. And so in that sense, understanding the key words of the sentence that drive the entire significance of the sentence are essential. And so in addition to developing vocabulary, you have to become aware of keywords. Very specific nouns, adjectives, numbers, even names and dates that you're listening for in a text. And so in that sense, when you're studying vocabulary, look for keywords, proper nouns like names, stuff like that, very specific nouns, very specific adjectives that have more obscure meaning that are like lesser used. Adjectives like those, you're more likely to get questions on if you're doing a listening exam and they appear. Et donc, avec ça, je pense que ce sont les astuces que je peux utiliser, pour étudier pour un examen écoute. These are the tips that I could use to study for a listening exam that I would use. And so in that sense, as you've gone over, you want to practice active listening You want to do a lot of mock exams and listening tests. You want to develop your vocabulary by finding keywords and by also finding words and phrases, specifically nouns, adjectives, numbers, names, and such the like. Doing all these things will allow you to do well on the IB French listening exam for SL. Bonne chance. N'oublie pas que tu as besoin de pratique avec moi. Je peux vous donner une leçon. I can give you lessons in French as well. Be sure to check that out on my website. And yeah, bonne chance. Good luck on your exams. We can shoot for a 7. Let's get it.